Dividing mixed numbers with negatives is just like dividing regular fractions with negatives, but we have to turn our mixed numbers into improper fractions first. So I have negative 1 and 3/8 divided by negative 1 and 4/7. In order to turn my mixed number into an improper fraction, I multiply my denominator times my whole number, then I add in my numerator and put it back on top of my original denominator. For example, I have 8 times 1, which is 8, plus 3 gives me an 11 over 8. It was negative. I'm dividing that by another negative, but I need to turn this one into an improper fraction by multiplying 7 times 1, which gives me 7. Then I add in 4. Now I have 11 over 7. Now I can keep, change, flip it. Because they're different signs, I automatically know, because they're the same sign, I automatically know that my answer is going to be positive. So when I keep it as 11/8, I change it to multiplication and I flip it and I now have 7 over 11. I'm going to do some reducing ahead of time just because I like to reduce so I don't have such big numbers. These two 11s are both multiples of 11, so I can divide both of those by 11. 11 divided by 11 would get me 1. 11 divided by 11 would get me 1. So now I can multiply 1 times 7, that's 7. 8 times 1, that is 8. If I would not have reduced earlier, I would have had 11 times 7, which would have been 77, 8 times 11, which would have been 88. Then we would have had to turn around and divide the top and the bottom by 11, and I still would have come up with my 7/8. First, we will start by turning our mixed number into an improper fraction. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 8. That one was negative. Put my division sign back. I'm dividing it by a negative 5/7. They're the same sign, so I know my answer has to be positive. Now I can do my keep, change, flip. Keep it as negative 5/7. Change it to multiplication. Flip it, and I now have a negative 8 over 9 instead of 9/8. When I multiply straight across, 5 times 8 gives me a 40. 9 times 7 gives me 63. They're the same sign, so I know my answer is a positive 40 over 63. Negative 1/2 divided by negative 1 and 3/8. I first have to turn my negative 1 and 3/8 into an improper fraction by multiplying my denominator, which is 8, times my whole number, which is 1. That gives me 8. I add in my numerator, which is 3. 8 plus 3 gives me 11. I write it back on top of my original denominator, which was 8. Remember, that was some negative stuff there. I'm just writing the rest of my problem back now. Now that I have two fractions, I can do some of that keep, change, flip. Keep it as negative 1/2. Change it to multiplication, flip it, and I now have 8 over 11. Remember, that's negative. I want to reduce ahead of time. Well, first, let me show you what it looks like if I don't reduce. 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 11 is 22. I realize that I can divide the top and the bottom by 2, and I'm left with 4 over 11. If I were to reduce ahead of time, when I had the 1/2 and the 8/11ths, the 8 and my 2, those are both multiples of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 11 times 1 is 11. I would have still come up with the same answer, which would have been 4/11. And because they are the same sign, the answer is positive. Last one. I'm going to turn my mixed numbers into improper fractions. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9 over 7, divided by, this is negative over here, so we know now they're different signs, so my answer is going to be negative. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 4. Now I can keep it, change it, flip it. Keep it as 9/7. change it to multiplication, flip it, and I now have 4 over 9. Look at my 9s here. Those are multiples of 9, so I can divide both of them by 9. 9 divided by 9 gives me 1. 9 divided by 9 gives me 1. Now I can multiply straight across. 1 times 4 is 4. 7 times 1 is 7. So my answer is a negative 4 sevenths. If I would not have reduced ahead of time and I would have multiplied straight across, I would have had 9 times 4, which is 36, and 7 times 9, which is 63. I would have then had to turn around and divide the top and the bottom by 9, and I would have still come up with 4 sevenths. Just like that. Remember, it has to be negative because they are different signs.